Welcome to a new video where we're diving into Ukraine's bold and game-changing Operation Spiderweb, a covert drone offensive that struck 4 Russian air bases on June 1st, 2025. This audacious strike, meticulously planned for 18 months and personally overseen by President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, caught Russia off guard and delivered a massive blow to its military might. Using drones smuggled into Russia and hidden in trucks, Ukraine showcased its ingenuity and resolve, hitting deep inside enemy territory. Today, we'll unpack the operation's impact, from the destruction it caused to its strategic and psychological significance, and why it marks a clear triumph for Ukraine and a humiliating setback for Russia. The scale of destruction from Operation Spiderweb was staggering. Ukrainian officials report that the coordinated drone strikes hit around 40 to 41 Russian military aircraft across 4 air bases, with video evidence showing warplanes engulfed in flames. Among the targets were Russia's prized Tu-95 and Tu-22M3 strategic bombers used to launch cruise missiles at Ukrainian cities, and even a rare A-50 airborne early warning radar plane worth around $500 million. In a single blow, Ukraine took out roughly 34% of Russia's fleet of strategic cruise missile carriers, dealing an estimated $7 billion in damage. This makes it the most economically and militarily devastating Ukrainian drone operation of the war so far. Destroying Soviet-era bombers that can't be easily replaced and a high-value A-50, of which Russia has fewer than 10, was a masterstroke that left Russia reeling. Ukraine didn't just hit planes, it obliterated billions in hardware that Moscow will struggle to replace. The strategic implications for Russia are profound. By destroying so many long-range bombers, Ukraine has significantly weakened Russia's ability to launch missile attacks on its cities. The Tu-95s and Tu-22M3s were critical for Russia's air raids, and the loss of an A-50 radar plane further hampers Moscow's ability to coordinate air operations and detect Ukrainian defenses. Military analysts note that these losses temporarily constrain Russia's long-range strike capabilities, leaving it with fewer eyes in the sky and fewer platforms to attack. Many of the bombers hit, like the older Tu-95s, are no longer in production, and their components are effectively irreplaceable. With Russia's total strategic bomber fleet under 90, losing over a third in one day is a monumental setback. Even damaged aircraft will take months or years to repair, crippling Russia's air power in the interim. This strike didn't just destroy planes, it disrupted Russia's entire offensive strategy. The operation also exposed glaring vulnerabilities in Russia's homeland defenses. Spanning 5 time zones from near Moscow to Siberia, the attack showed that even bases deep inside Russia aren't safe. Moscow now faces the daunting task of stretching its air defense networks to protect far-flung sites, diverting resources like surface-to-air missiles and mobile defense units from the front lines. This logistical strain complicates Russia's ability to maintain pressure on Ukraine. The use of first-person view drones launched from within Russia bypassed traditional border defenses, revealing a new kind of threat. Coinciding with mysterious explosions and train derailments inside Russia, which officials attributed to sabotage, the operation underscores Ukraine's ability to disrupt Moscow's rear logistics. Russia is now forced into a defensive posture, scrambling to secure bases, fuel depots, and rail lines far from the front, a costly and complex challenge. For Ukraine, Operation Spiderweb is a tactical and psychological triumph. Tactically, it removed a large chunk of the bombers that have been pounding Ukrainian cities, easing pressure on air defenses and civilians. By targeting A-50s and bombers, Ukraine has preemptively blunted future Russian attacks, saving lives and infrastructure. Strategically, the operation showcases Ukraine's asymmetric prowess, proving it can strike deep into Russia with minimal resources. Commentators have called it one of the most brilliant asymmetric strikes in modern warfare, hitting not just Russia's planes, but its pride and sense of control. Global media, like The Guardian, described it as possibly the most damaging Ukrainian attack of the war, boosting morale and shattering Russia's aura of invulnerability. Ukrainian officials say this operation will undoubtedly be in the history books, a testament to their ingenuity and resolve. On the eve of peace talks in Istanbul, this strike strengthens Ukraine's leverage, proving it can hit back hard and isn't negotiating from weakness. Russia's reaction tells its own story. For the first time, Moscow's defense ministry publicly acknowledged a large-scale attack on its air bases, admitting strikes across 5 regions, including Murmansk Oblast's Olenya airfield and Irkutsk Oblast's Belaya air base. But they downplayed the damage, claiming only a few aircraft units were affected and insisting other strikes were repelled with no casualties. This narrative starkly contrasts with Ukraine's claim of 40-plus aircraft hit, backed by videos of burning warplanes. Moscow's mixed messaging, calling it a heavy blow while minimizing losses, shows a desperate attempt at damage control. Russian state media branded the strikes a terrorist act by the Kyiv regime, claiming counterintelligence foiled parts of the plot and arrested accomplices. One report suggested a truck carrying drones was discovered in Amur Oblast, but Ukraine's SBU says its operatives were safely extracted. Even pro-Russian bloggers criticized their leadership for failing to protect bases, demanding better defenses. The Russian Air Force's reputation has taken a hit, and Moscow's scramble to respond reveals the strike's humiliating impact. Internationally, Operation Spiderweb has been hailed as a bold Ukrainian success. Global media admired Ukraine's audacity, with outlets like The Guardian noting its potential as the war's most damaging drone strike. Western analysts praised Ukraine's ability to pull this off without NATO weaponry, using homegrown drones to expose Russia's vulnerabilities. Ukraine's allies, including the US, offered no criticism, signaling tacit acceptance of Ukraine's right to strike threats on Russian soil. The US noted it wasn't informed in advance, but NATO reaffirmed Ukraine's right to self-defense. As NATO countries met to coordinate aid in June 2025, the strike likely strengthened calls to supply Ukraine with more drones and defenses. Zelenskyy, calling the operation an absolutely brilliant result, reminded allies of Ukraine's ongoing bombardment and need for support. The international community sees this as a justified defensive act, reinforcing commitment to Ukraine's cause. In conclusion, Operation Spiderweb is a resounding Ukrainian triumph and a devastating setback for Russia. With no Ukrainian lives lost, Kyiv destroyed or disabled over 40 aircraft and billions in equipment, proving it can strike deep into Russia and disrupt its war machine. The loss of irreplaceable bombers and radar planes weakens Russia's air power and forces a defensive scramble, exposing long-term vulnerabilities. For Ukraine, this boosts morale, showcases its ingenuity, and strengthens its diplomatic hand. It's a reminder to the world and to Moscow that Ukraine's resolve is unbreakable and Russia's aggression comes at a steep cost. This moment will be remembered as a turning point, tipping the balance further in Ukraine's favor.